Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel, and we are back with another Manchester United news show, and we've got plenty to talk about as Manchester United table a third and potentially final bid for Mason Mount, so we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about a new goalkeeper as Manchester United start talks with the Inter Milan goalkeeper. Mason Greenwood is back in training as well, and we've got some updates in relation to the takeover of Manchester United, with a hint potentially being dropped by the Qataris in relation to it. Like always, get your thoughts and comments into the chat. Let's get right into it. Yeah, so you're more than welcome, guys. Thanks for joining. Please do smash a like on the video if you're just joining the channel. You're more than welcome. Let's see who we got in. We've got Dara is in there as well. Keelan as well. John is there. Plenty of people in already. Really looking forward to getting into tonight's show, guys. Plenty to talk about. But look, let's start it off with what you can see on the screen. Anybody that's watching on YouTube, you can see what we've got up on the screen. It's in relation to Mason Mount. Oisin will be delighted to hear. No backwards hat tonight. No backwards hat. But look, Manchester United have tabled a third and potentially final bid for Mason Mount. It's pretty clear at the moment that he is Manchester United's first priority in this transfer window. I wouldn't say top priority, but it's the one that's most likely to get done at the moment. We do know that United had two previous bids rejected. The first one rejected right out of hand. I think United went in with 40 million. And the second bid, I think, was it 45 million with potentially 5 million add-ons. And look, according to the reports today, United have gone back in with a third bid of 55 million pounds sterling. Now, by all accounts, that is 50 million upfront and 5 million then with, pretty easy kind of appearance-based and, maybe goal-based add-ons, if he scores a few goals, if he makes certain appearances, if he wins a certain amount of things, so on and so forth. So, look, I mean, again, we're starting to see a bit of movement in relation to United, really, I suppose, starting to make moves. Obviously, we do know Mason Mount is the most, I suppose, the furthest progressed deal that we're doing at the moment. And look, my stance on it at the moment. I think our midfield does need some upgrades. And I think he provides a good upgrade for Manchester United. I really do. I think it will be a decent signing for United, but potentially it will be good upgrades to what we've already got. Now, again, look, we're probably going to have to get some players out the door as well. But I think, the fact that we're getting the likes of Mason Mount in, is that going to put the writing on the wall for a certain amount of other players that are there, maybe in a similar position? Your Scott McTominay's, your, Fred's, your Donny van de Beek's, all this kind of thing. And like I said last night on the show, I think it will probably act as a bit of a, maybe, I suppose, snowball effect. If we can get maybe this deal over the line, does that mean then that we can get maybe players out, a lot more quickly, build some funds, get other players in, so on and so forth. So let's go down through it. The 24-year-old is keen to move to Old Trafford after being left frustrated with the new regime at Stamford Bridge following contract talks. Incoming Chelsea boss Maurizio Pochettino wants Mount, who has just 1 year left on his deal, to stay, but understands he's powerless to impact the situation. The Blues are now intent on squeezing a large transfer fee out of their rivals, but talks are at risk of collapsing. United had an initial £40 million bid turned down, then 45 million bid with a further 5 million added on, rejected on Wednesday as well. So look, I mean, we've said this before that, you don't want to see Manchester United dragging things on too much. It looks like this is going to be the final bid. There's been talks throughout the week that United will walk away if this bid is not accepted. And to be honest with you, I think this bid probably will be. We've seen that the last two bids been rejected pretty much straight away, and Chelsea haven't rejected this bid yet. So it's positive news from a United standpoint in terms of getting Mason Mount into the club. Oshin says, don't see the attraction to Mount, to be honest, especially for the asking price. That's about 15 million more than he's actually worth, in my opinion. Yeah, and again, look, this is the United tax coming into full effect, really, isn't it? And again, look, I mean, if we can get some players out the door in a similar position to Mason Mount, you know, whether it be Scott McTominay, a Donny van de Beek, a Fred, or multiple of them, you know, and we can get some decent money in for them, then I don't think this will be as much of a sting. You know, I think it provides some good depth within the midfield. I mean, if you look at our midfield at the moment, and, you know, if we go with, let's say, the three that regularly start in there is Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. Now, if we're looking at Mason Mount, he's probably going to be going in as a similar role to Christian Eriksen. And if you look at the moment, the gap between our starting 11 and the players coming off the bench is vast. And whether you like Mason Mount or not, I think him coming to Manchester United will close that gap in terms of players that, you know, if Mason Mount comes in and starts ahead of Eriksen, then you have Eriksen coming off the bench and vice versa. So that gap closes in terms of standards. And it means that our players are, you know, whoever starts and whoever comes off the bench are similar in terms of talent. At the moment, we've got, you know, Christian Eriksen, especially since he came back from his injury late in the season, we've seen him basically play 60 minutes and Fred comes on instead of him. Now, there's a big gap between Fred and Christian Eriksen. And I think if you bring Mason Mount in, I think that will, you know, it's less of a blow having to take Christian Eriksen off and put Mason Mount on, or vice versa. Victorious says, we need to trust Ten Hag's judgment. He's been pretty spot on with his transfers so far. Yeah, and I've been saying that for a long time as well. You know, whoever the manager wants, I am 100% behind, and I'm happy to go for, and I'm happy to, you know, to back him. And if he has a spell of 4 or 5 players that are, you know, turn out to not be good enough, then okay, then we can have some question marks. But at the moment, he's bought his spending has been pretty much spot on. Not in terms of the amount we've spent. That's not his area. His area is to identify players that he wants that will fit into his system. I think he's done a pretty decent job of it so far. Aaron says, I know we're probably third in line if we want to sign Rice, but do you think the Mount deal could turn Rice's eye towards United? Potentially. Now, look, I think when it comes to, you know, players of Rice's, I won't say caliber, but of Rice's stature and the type of money he's going to go for and the type of salary he's going to garnish regardless of where he goes, I think these kind of deals tend not to affect it an awful lot. It looks like Man City have now overtaken Arsenal in relation to the race to sign him, and by all accounts today, a bid has been placed, you know, for Declan Rice already by Manchester City. So they don't mess around. So look, it's clear that Mount and Rice are good friends, best of friends, you would nearly say. So, I mean, I would love to sit here and tell you that, you know, this would act as a catalyst to going out and getting Declan Rice. But the chances of that being the case are probably quite slim. I would love our 2 central midfield signings this season to be Mount and Rice. I think it would be absolutely fantastic, you know. And again, we go back to what we were talking about heavily on yesterday's show, was these players plus cash deal that United were potentially looking to offer West Ham. I don't think it comes close to the, I suppose, the finances that City have. But again, we go back and we say, you know, would it be easier for West Ham to get 2 deals done in one, potentially 3 deals done in one, if we're offering West Ham 2 players, rather than, you know, taking a big 100 to 110 million lump sum from City, and then every player you try to buy, you know, to replace Declan Rice from a West Ham standpoint, the club you're buying off know you have this reserve, this big 100 million cash reserve, so they'll charge more. So it could be a scenario where West Ham would be happy to do a player plus cash swap because it would take a lot of the pressure off them to go out and replace Rice. But I think money talks as well. And I don't see West Ham rejecting a bid for Declan Rice as long as it matches their valuation and what they want to get from him. So if that's player plus cash, they could accept. But I think if Man City come in with a straight 100 million, they're going to accept it straight away. I really do think so. And then all of a sudden, Man City are putting an offer on the table for Declan Rice for whatever it may be, 200 grand a week, 250 grand a week. Oh, hello. You're interrupting the news show. Come in and say goodbye. Come in and say goodbye to everybody. Bye. Say bye, everybody. Microphone is in your way. Say bye. 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 All right, jog on. See you later. Good night. Messi, get out.
Messi in the way, is he?
Sorry about that.
Oh, Messi,
Sorry about that.
Okay, come on now.
So yeah, like,
Good night.
See you in the morning. But yeah, so I mean, basically, when you have Man City coming in and they're putting an offer on the table like that for Rice, and they're offering a certain amount of money, and look, what you do have to take into consideration as well, as much as it kills me to say, he would be joining the treble winners, so you do have to take that into consideration as well. But on the flip side of that, you look at the likes of Mason Mount and you look at the likes of Declan Rice. They have an opportunity to be part of something that would potentially be, monumental if we are to go on and start to challenge City and win major trophies. If Declan Rice or Mason Mount or whoever it may be, Harry Kane, does come in and makes a massive difference towards that, I think it would, from a player standpoint, I think it would be a lot more satisfying, to be part of something like that than to go to the likes of Manchester City and just win another league, and win the 4th league in a row or whatever it may be. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But it does look like Manchester City are currently leading the race. Oshin says, the concerning thing is that there doesn't seem to be anyone interested in our surplus. I can see us struggling to get rid of bodies unless we agree to pay part wages or something, a Woodward hangover. Absolutely. And, it's something that we did mention last year after Woodward left, that there is going to be a trickle-down effect left by his legacy, until we can clear the books by getting rid of the players that he signed. And that will take a while. It really will. But you have to start somewhere. You really do. There's been a lot of talk of, if Harry Maguire was to leave, to get him off the books, that you would partially pay out the rest of his contract to make up for maybe dropping his wages if he was to go to a West Ham or, Aston Villa or a Spurs or whatever it may be. And that may be an option as well. Dylan says, I think ONANA is a good backup keeper to De Gea if we get him. We're going to talk about him in a minute. The Glazers are just wasting time and Ten Hag wants signings. The Glazers don't care. To be honest with you, I don't think the Glazers really have anything to do with this. I think it's just the fact that historically United have been relatively slow at getting deals done. But I don't think the Glazers give two hoots about who we sign, because they're looking to get out, and they will get out. I think all they care about at the moment is how much they actually get from either the Qataris or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, whoever it may be. Shane says, evening, man. Have you covered Greenwood yet? No, we're going to get into Greenwood in a minute, Shane. And Oshin says, start a GoFundMe page for Ari's wages. Get it done. Absolutely get it done. I would donate to that myself. So, yeah, look, let's move it on to the goalkeeper situation. And obviously, Manchester United have been linked with Andre ONANA of Inter Milan. And United have entered talks as David De Gea exit looks increasingly likely. Now, over the last few weeks, we've been, hearing that David De Gea has yet to make up his mind in relation to signing a new contract with United. And that is kind of slowing down the process in terms of United either going out and getting a first-choice goalkeeper or getting someone to just challenge David De Gea next season if he does stay. But these, I suppose, reports are quite positive. Let's go down through it. David De Gea is increasingly likely to leave Manchester United when his contract expires at the end of June, and the club are preparing for this possibility by pursuing a move for Inter's Andre Onana. The Red Devils are continuing negotiations with the Spaniard over a new deal, having previously been close to an agreement on fresh terms. 90 Minutes reported on Tuesday that United were actively looking at the goalkeeper market, and talks with De Gea rumbled on, with Porto's Diogo Costa and Brentford's David Raya among their targets. Another name on the radar was Onana, who worked under Ten Hag at Ajax, and sources have revealed that the club have held talks with the players' camp in recent days. So this is positive news from Manchester United. It really is. We're making moves in the right direction to strengthen the squad. And I don't think we should be waiting for David De Gea to make up his mind. Now, if we look at it, his contract will expire at the end of June, which is just over a week away. So United are not wasting any time, and rightly so, because, you can't... Look, I love David De Gea. He's been a great servant to the club, but you can't be held hostage, by individual players. And not that David De Gea is doing that. He's got time to make up his mind before his contract ends. But reports have suggested today that there is an offer on the table for David De Gea from the Saudi League, and we know what their, I suppose, football model is all about. It's about money. We'll pay you big money to come and play in our league. Other reports are also, saying this here: Manchester United exploring options after talks with Onana's agent. And it also says here that Onana's agent was in Manchester. So it basically confirms that United have been talking with his representatives. And from the other side as well, it's we're looking at some decent reports here that Inter Milan are lining up a replacement for him. So they're looking at replacements. They're basically saying, look, we're not going to keep this player this summer. We're open to letting him go. If the right offer comes in, then happy days. Now, the stumbling block, like it always is with Manchester United, is a fee, and Manchester United, according to reports in Italy, are not willing to go beyond 30 million euro for Onana. Now, if we have a look down here, Manchester United are interested in the goalkeeper, but are currently not willing to spend beyond 30 million for the Cameroon international. His agent was in Manchester yesterday, so on and so forth. Whereas Inter are looking for 60 million, closer to 60 million for him. So again, we're seeing this common theme throughout players that we're looking for. Again, we go back to the United tax. Players are a certain price until United come knocking on the door, and then all of a sudden, that price explodes. Now, look, I think United going in with a 30 million bid would be a lowballing offer for a goalkeeper like this. I mean, he's a good goalkeeper. He's just played in the Champions League final. His reputation and his stock is high. I think you would probably be looking at anywhere between 45 and 55 million probably to get the job done. But yeah, I mean, look, it is an area that we certainly do need improving, because we know how Eric Ten Hag likes to play. We know the modern game of football is all about having goalkeepers who are good and comfortable with the ball at their feet. And David De Gea doesn't really tick that box. Albeit there has been improvements in his first season under Ten Hag with the ball at his feet. But, I mean, Manchester United should always be a club that looks for improving, looks for the best players, and try get the best players in. And David De Gea, as a ball-playing goalkeeper, is not the best goalkeeper that we could potentially have. Now, in terms of a shot stopper, he's up there with the best in the world. Absolutely, he is. But we've seen some of his old habits creep back in, where he's giving away sloppy goals. The goal against West Ham is a prime example of that as well. Look, David De Gea's time at Manchester United is numbered. His days are numbered. Whether he does stay on for and sign another year or 2-year deal, I don't know. If he does leave, I will thank him for what he's done for Manchester United, because over the last 10 years, as bleak as it has been for a lot of that period, he's been one of the shining lights. He really has. But again, I go back to the point. Manchester United should always be in the market for good players when they become available, you know, and we've seen it. And I don't want to harp back, you know, to the Fergie era and all of that. But if you look at even, let's take Harry Kane, for example. If Harry Kane had 1 year left on his contract and we knew that he wanted out of Spurs in the Alex Ferguson era, we would have him signed already. It would be over. We would have him signed. You know, it was similar with the Wayne Rooney deal back in 2004, I think it was. Manchester United got the hint that he wanted to leave Everton, and within the space of a few weeks, the deal was done, you know. So that's what United need to be doing all the time. Can see us paying outrageous prices for a keeper, says Dale. Oshin says, I was thinking about this today and never really brought African players because of the AFCON. Losing your number one in January for a few months isn't great. Song won't always be manager of Cameroon. Yeah, so people have been saying that as well, that, you know, you would miss him for the African Cup of Nations. He has retired from international duty. Now, he is a young goalkeeper, so it doesn't seem like he gets on with the current manager. That could change. Of course, that could change at any stage. But I think that's why Manchester United need to have two goalkeepers. Now, if David De Gea is to leave, we're going to have to buy two goalkeepers in the summer. We really are. And I think, or you need to have a second goalkeeper lined up for January, ready to step in when ONANA leaves. If we do, you know, we'll have to sign a second one. I don't know. But the one thing that is for certain is we need a new goalkeeper, one at minimum, in the summer. Any news on potentially signings for a striker? No real update on that in the past few days, Dylan. We spoke about Harry Kane last night, all right, but as of then, you know, nothing much today. Aaron says, let's hope we don't have another goalkeeper nightmare like we did have between Peter and Edwin. Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at what we done when Peter Schmeichel left, we bought bad goalkeepers. You know, we did buy bad goalkeepers. And, you know, you look at, no one will ever forget Massimo Taibi. He let the ball through his legs and was never seen again. I think he's living in a treehouse somewhere in, I don't know, Serbia or somewhere like that, afraid to look out the window. But, you know, you had your Roy Carrolls, wasn't good enough. Even Fabian Barthez, while being a very good goalkeeper, the pressure at being of being the number one at Manchester United is a different kind of pressure. Now, look, the pressure on goalkeepers when Peter Schmeichel left was a hell of a lot more pressure than, say, a goalkeeper coming in and taking over from David De Gea. First and foremost, because, you know, when Schmeichel left, we were winning, serial winners. Kipiri, thanks for the gifts. Much appreciated. But at the moment, we're in a rebuild. So not that the pressure isn't as much, because there's always going to be massive pressure from a United standpoint. But I think the contrast between David De Gea and Peter Schmeichel is vast, you know. Dale says, to be the best and compete at the top level, we have to have players at the top form 99% of the time, and De Gea hasn't been there for a while. Good point, yeah. Oshin says, only retiring because Son sent him home. Not like the Irish have any experience of that. Oh, man, nightmares. You know, you wake up some nights just in a cold sweat going, Saipan! Oh, Jesus, oh no, I was dreaming. Oshin says, was Fabian Barthez that bad? Crazy French. Yeah, look, he was a bit of a nutcase, all right. Like, I remember he used to be throwing out the ball. He used to try and throw it past the halfway line. Yeah, he was away with the fairy sometimes, but a good goalkeeper as well. The Last Poet says, 24 years old. He's a great signing. I'm well chuffed. I see a lot of people not liking Mount, but when you break it down, he walks into our midfield. I agree. And look, you know, Oshin doesn't see the attraction. You do. I do. I think there are better players out there. Don't get me wrong. But for where we are and what we need to improve, in the areas we need to improve, and the type of players that Ten Hag wants to sign, I just have a feeling Mason Mount could slot into Manchester United, work under Eric Ten Hag, and just really, really, really improve. I really do. Clewin is in. Good to see you, pal. He says, hello, mate. How are you? I'm watching your channel from South Africa, Durban. You're more than welcome. Thanks for joining. Let's see what people on TikTok are saying here. Let's scroll back. Make sure you smash the like button as well, guys. Let's try to get to 5,000 likes on TikTok as well. If you haven't already, take a second, tap the screen a few times. Anybody watching on YouTube, if you haven't already done so, hit the thumbs up button for me as well. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Aidan says, do you think Anthony Martial will be sold? Well, that all comes down to how many strikers we can actually get in the summer. Obviously, we've been linked with Rasmus Højlund, Gonzalo Ramos, Kolo Muani, and of course, Harry Kane. I think if we get the likes of one of them, maybe a Højlund, for example, and then maybe Harry Kane agitates for a move from Spurs later in the window, and we do get him, then I think we could potentially look at moving Martial on. But I think until we sign two strikers, I think Ten Hag would probably look to hold on to him as backup, more so than anything else. But I mean, I would be happy going into next season without Martial. Padraig, thanks for the gifts. I would be happy going into next season without Martial and having maybe a Rasmus Højlund there and as your number one striker, with maybe Marcus Rashford, who generally plays off of the wing, as your backup option to, that can play through the middle as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is. Let's see what other people are saying. Mark Bosnich just caught. Yeah, that's another one. Are we getting Mount? Yes or no? Says Joe. I think we will. I think it's looking pretty straightforward now. Huntelar says, let me see. Let me scroll back to that. Who's better, Mount or Paqueta? I don't like doing that. Nickname says, been a United fan since 1991. No way Rashford deserves an 80 million contract. Well, the alternative, Nickname, is you lose him on a free next year. I mean, he has scored 30 goals this season. He would easily go for 100 million. So I don't know. Look, it's not money out of my pocket. It's not money out of your pocket. We're going to have very wealthy owners, hopefully, in a couple of weeks' time. So, look, I think if Rashford scores another 30 goals next season, no one will be talking about his wages. Let's see. Declan Rice is better than Mount, says Kipiri. Kurdistan is in. He says, Jack, mate, how you doing? I'm good, pal. Good to see you. Thanks for joining again. Gary says, if Mount is the start of a few signings, I'll be happy. But if he's the marquee signing, we're in trouble. Great point. Yeah, absolutely great point. And I think that does make a lot of sense. If at the end of the transfer window, he's the only player that we bring in terms of maybe a midfielder, then you would be kind of saying, all right, okay. I still think we need to go out and get a second midfielder in the summer. We're ganging up on us, Shane. Shane says, Mount is a great player for the midfield, a step up from Fred. Dale says, we need midfielders with the same passion as Casemiro, but if a temper can't hurt either, Mount seems like a soft man. Well, again, I mentioned this a few days ago as well, and I think that could very easily change. You see Mason Mount, he stood up to Lisandro Martinez when we played them this year. Was it in Old Trafford or in Stamford Bridge? I can't remember which one. And Luke Shaw just grabbed him and pulled him away and said, don't do it. He'll fucking kill you. So we've seen a bit of fight from him there. And I think if he's playing in a team with Bruno Fernandes ahead of him, who's constantly, fighting and giving out more and kind of, and you have a Casemiro beside him and you have a Lisandro Martinez behind him, I think it's very easy for that kind of mentality to catch on. I really do. Let's see. Shane says, I think we should always have two out-and-out strikers. We need to be able to rest players. Rashford is better fresh off the left. No need for him to be backup striker and play an extra 20 games. I completely agree with you, Shane. 100% agree. But my point there was saying that if it is the case we do only sign one striker, I think we could cope, I think we could cope. Let me see. I'm just seeing something pop up on my screen here. In relation to David De Gea, let's have a look here. It's come from Sky Sports News. David De Gea's future at Manchester United has been described as in the balance. It is understood discussions remain open as both clubs and De Gea consider their options. There we go. There we go. And we've got more. Let me just refresh. Manchester United are looking at keepers including Porto's Diogo Costa, Brentford's David Raya, and Inter Milan's Andrea Onana, regardless of whether De Gea remains at the club or not. So there we go. So that's positive news. You know, regardless of whether David De Gea signs a new contract or not, Manchester United are going to be in the market for one of them 3 goalkeepers that was mentioned there, which is good news because what we've said before, and I'll say it again. Competition is vitally important to a team. Lad, stop spamming the chat or you're going to get blocked. Don't be putting in a million comments. So, yeah, look, I mean, competition is vitally important. And, you know, getting competition in every area of the field can't be a bad thing. It really can't. It can't be a bad thing. Clewin says, I hope that they have paid Harry Maguire to leave Man U before the new season. I've been supporting Man United for 52 years. I'm 57 years of age. Well, look, I mean, Manchester United are happy to let him go. If he doesn't leave, Clewin, then I think it's down to him. And I think it shows a lack of ambition, really, because he knows he's not going to get a game at Manchester United. Party Pooper says he's good at free kicks as well, right? Says in relation to Mason Mount, he's able to take one, as far as I'm aware. Arsenal for Life is laughing at Mason Mount. I wouldn't be laughing, lad, because you just got pipped to the post to Declan Rice by the looks of it. So, you know, I'd look at your own club before you start laughing at us. You know, you bottled the league and now you're bottling the Rice deal as well. Oshin says, we can't go into next season with Heaton as our only senior keeper. Henderson should never darken the halls of Old Trafford again. I wouldn't let him darken the doors of it, so I wouldn't, let alone the hallway. So, yeah. But anyway, let's have a look. So let's move it on, guys. And, you know, obviously a big talking point today in relation to United has been in relation to Mason Greenwood and that, you know, it came out late last night from The Sun that Mason Greenwood was training with a private coach as Manchester United continue their investigation. Now, look, there's been a lot of talk about this over the last, 24 hours or so. And to be honest with you, I don't see the big story in this at all. A lot of people thinking that it's going to be Mason Mount is now coming back to Manchester United. He's preparing. He's doing a pre-season and all this kind of stuff. I don't think there's a lot to really look into in relation to this. We've seen The Sun doing a report. Again, I mentioned it on a quick news video today that does anybody take The Sun seriously in relation to what they write? No, they don't. These pictures could come from anywhere. It's pretty clear that he is training, doing some, personal training himself, but that in no way, shape or form means he's coming back to Manchester United. He's obviously just keeping himself in shape. He is going to play football in the upcoming season. And that is either going to be with Manchester United or somebody else. And I know that's very vague and very broad, but it's the truth. He will play football next season. It just all comes down to where he's going to play that football. And I think, we've seen as well, his kind of camp are, putting out a little bit, a few statements, saying that, they pretty much kind of orchestrated this little photo shoot. They put him in a public sports complex and let him train on his own. Who wasn't going to take pictures of him, and I think they're probably getting a bit frustrated with the lack of speed in relation to United's investigation. But I think United hold all the cards here, and rightly so. Manchester United supportive of Mason Greenwood's private training sessions, according to another report. Of course they are, because Manchester United will either play Mason Greenwood or they will loan Mason Greenwood or sell him, and the fact that he's training and staying fit and, getting his touch back in, whatever it may be, it's beneficial to Manchester United. So I don't see why that would be, a bad thing for them. I really don't. But do I see Mason Greenwood playing with Manchester United again? I mean, I'm 50-50 at the moment. I have to say, I've been back and forth with it. Do I want him to play for Manchester United again? Probably not. I don't think he should. It's pretty clear what happened, and it's pretty clear that you know, why he is now able to come back and play football. We all know the reasons behind that. I don't think it would be. I mean, he's a fantastic footballer. He really, really is a fantastic footballer. And we don't know what kind of Mason Greenwood would come back first and foremost. You know, would he be the same player? Has he got the mental capability to deal with the spotlight and the scrutiny and the criticism that is going to come his way the second he steps back onto the pitch and steps back into a club, whether that be with Manchester United or someone else? He is going to have to be very, very mentally sound and strong and block out all the noise. I don't think it's a good idea for Manchester United to bring him back. I've said this before. I think finally we are going in the right direction. There's some positivity around the club where, albeit Mason Greenwood would improve Manchester United if he came back and come back into the squad. He would. If he comes back and the club decide to allow him to come back and Erik ten Hag takes him back into the squad and he plays for Manchester United, I will support him for the 90 minutes or however long that he plays on the pitch, like I will with any footballer. But outside of that, I don't have to like anybody, you know. I've got a lot of friends who are Liverpool fans, and the whole Luis Suarez thing and Patrice Evra at the time. I've got some Liverpool fans who, you know, you can talk to, and Liverpool fans you can't talk to, and we all know, you know, what we're talking about there in terms of, you know, no, fuck you and shut up and all that kind of shit. But there are some Liverpool fans with brains out there. And they said a similar thing. A couple of my friends who were Liverpool fans at the time, they said, Luis Suarez is his comeback. You know what I mean? But when he plays for Liverpool, I want him to score goals, you know, and I think it would be very hard for the majority of United fans. And of course, there will be people out there that will say, you know, you don't, I'll never watch Manchester United again if he plays. And that's completely and utterly their right. And I would never, you know, I would never go against anything that they're saying because everybody has their own opinion. I would find it hard not to celebrate a goal if Mason Greenwood comes back and scores. I would find it hard not to do it because I'm a Manchester United fan and I want United to win games. But outside of that, I don't support what he does. I have a daughter. If he done that to my daughter, he'd be anyway. We won't say anymore. But you know what I mean. It's a difficult one. It really is, and I can see it in the fan base. The older generation of the fan base are against him coming back, and the younger generation with a little bit less experience, a little bit less life knowledge and all of that say, get him back, get him scoring goals, you know. And look, that's understandable as well. You know, younger people and kids probably don't understand really what's gone on. And they see him only by the clips they see on YouTube of him scoring goals. And it's understandable from that point as well. But I can see the divide in Manchester United fans to whether he should come back or not is very age related. And that's understandable as well. But I don't think United should bring him back. I really don't. I think for the club and just morally as well, I think it's probably better off if we cut ties with him, whether we loan him, sell him, whatever it may be. But if he does come back, like I said, I'll still be supporting Manchester United because the club is bigger than any single player, you would have to say, and that will always be the case. So yeah, let me just set up this here, guys. the usual baby monitor time. I don't know why I don't just bring it in with me before I go live, because the wife always comes in and hands me the baby monitor once the kid goes to bed. So, but yeah. So yeah, let's see what some people are saying in the comments here. Let's see. If he's okay to play with United again, I'd say he'll have to make a statement. But then again, he wasn't found guilty. So what could he say? Yeah, and look, I mean, he wasn't found guilty and he wasn't found innocent. It's literally the charges were dropped. That was basically it. He will have to make a statement. Of course he will. The club will have to make a statement. Eric Ten Hag will be quizzed about it for probably 2 to 3 months in every press conference. And I think that's the distraction. And I said it with Ronaldo, and these words stick in my head because I made it a TikTok about it, and I said when it was whether Ronaldo should stay or Ronaldo should go, what I said was, if Ronaldo stays at Manchester United, it will be Ronaldo as story number 1 and football as story number 2, and that shouldn't be the case. And I think this whole Mason Greenwood scenario, if he did come back to Manchester United, would fall into a similar bracket. Luke says, completely agree. Don't think paying someone off for what he did excuses anything, but also being a good footballer is an excuse for what he's done, which is probably why he did it in the first place. He also says, so much ego for young players to have some sort of support or training for the limelight at such young ages. Yeah, absolutely. Oisin says, you're a bigger man than I am, Jack. Where are you finding these Liverpool fans with brains? Sounds like bollocks. There's one or two of them out there. I just happen to know the one or two that do have brains. Also, the women's team, they would have riots. One of the players came out saying she wouldn't feel safe. Of course, you have to take all of that into consideration as well. Oisin says the baby monitor is a UCC tradition, like potatoes at halftime. And no, I miss the old potatoes. I'm not eating as many bags as I used to. I'm shedding a few pounds here. Do that look slim? No. Soon as the watch-alongs come back, we'll be back in. I think the watch-alongs are less than 3 weeks away, I think. So we haven't got long to go. Let's see. Dylan says, I think maybe loan him out and see how he goes from there as well. Let's see what people on TikTok here are saying also. Let the boy be, leave him alone, says Ronnie. Ian says, Ian here from Austin. I'm in the pub, having one for you. Good man, Ian. I'm delighted to hear it, my friend. I will be in the pub tomorrow. I've got a golf classic to play, golf outing at Society. So we're going playing golf, and then we're going straight to the pub. So can't wait. Zen says, if he done something wrong, admits to it, and accepts that he made a mistake, should he not get a second chance? That's all down to interpretations. Then everyone has their own opinion on it. So, and I will not fall out with anybody over their opinion. Everyone's opinion is valid, and it's as important as the next person's. So, I'm not going to fall out with anyone. And I think it's important for United fans not to fall out with each other over it. We all support the same team, so let's get behind the team. Let's see. Is there rumors true that there's going to be another round of bids, says Christopher. Right, well, let's get into it. So there has been some reports today that Sheikh Jassim's father dropped a huge hint in relation to the takeover bid of Manchester United. As we all know, we're still waiting to hear. We're still waiting to hear. The Glazers haven't made their mind up yet. We don't really know what's going on in the background. The Al Thani family are a very closed family. They don't like the limelight an awful lot. They don't post an awful lot online in terms of social media. But it is no news that Sheikh Jassim Al Thani wants to buy Manchester United, but completing the takeover of the club has proven tricky, and it does not appear anything will happen on the front anytime soon. His father, however, has put up a Instagram post today, which is quite rare. And here is the post, if it will ever load. Come on, Instagram, load up there, please. Let's refresh it. He's probably taking it down now by the time I've gone live. No, here we go. Let's zoom in here for everybody to see it. So this is the post. And can we get a... I had that translated. So basically, his father saying he's out with the boys, basically his sons. So this is Al Thani in the, what would you call it? Maroon, salmon colored shirt here. So a very rare public appearance by him. Now, look, this is all speculation. Of course it is. Of course it is. But speculation at the moment is better than nothing, really, because we want this takeover done and dusted as quickly as possible. We want the Glazers gone. The majority of us want the Qataris in because it means the Glazers are completely gone. But it seems to be continuing to drag on. It really does. There's no real updates. This is basically it. So it's only a bit of speculation in relation to what may or may not happen. But I think we all are in the same boat that we all want the Qataris to take over, don't we? Hushin says the 4K camera and creative lighting can help shed the pounds. I've got a brand new camera today. It's my first day using it. I don't know if you've noticed it. Sony ZV-E10 up and running. Absolutely chuffed with it, I have to say. I am a bit closer than I was on the old Logitech webcam. So I'm going to have to. I'm upgrading the studio. So I'll have to move it a little bit away from me as it goes, because usually on the watch alongs I'm further away, which helps the setup on the screen. But yeah, we'll be dealing with that at a later date. So much for a quick bloody sale. Club was put up after the Ronaldo interview. I know, when, November, so we're talking nearly 9 months. Crazy. Dylan says, have a bar in your house, then you won't have to go to the pub and pay for a pint. It's not the same, Dylan. It's not the same. You get to the age where you just want to get out of the house and you want to go and have a chat with a few people and tell a joke and have a laugh and a bit of atmosphere. Much better than sitting at home drinking on your own. Luke says, wouldn't be surprised if Sheikh Jazim didn't have a dad. Everything that's said by his dad, the opposite has happened. He might just be an AI generated person and he doesn't even exist. Who knows? What pints are on tap? Tomorrow I will be drinking an ice cold pint of Smithwick's. I can't wait. Pint of ale. Can't wait for it. You'll need to set the monitor settings to make sure it's set up for 4K. Yeah, I have a couple of YouTube videos that I have to watch. So yeah, before I get all of the settings completely right. Now, I want to end the show on a positive note and an exciting note, because there's been a hint dropped by Manchester United today in relation to who is going to wear the number 9 shirt, or sorry, the number 7 shirt. Apologies, next season. Manchester United tease which attacker will be given the number 7 shirt next season. I'll give you a second to put it into the chat, to get your comments into the chat, who we might be talking about. Who do you think is going to be wearing the number 7 shirt next season? Let me know in the comment section real quick. One name and one name only. I want you to put it into the chat and let me know. Because United have, on their website, they've done a kind of a quiz today, or a kind of a, yeah, I suppose it is a quiz in relation to one of our players. 10 questions. And you have to get a certain amount of them right. So this is the quiz that they put up. United quiz, Alejandro Garnacho. And the teasing point is, if you're a true fan of Garnacho, then you'll score at least 7 out of 10 with a winky face. And then it's been reported by Samuel Luckhurst today as well. Manchester United are considering making Alejandro Garnacho their new number 7 as his stratospheric rise continues. So, look, I said this a couple of months ago that I was pretty sure once Ronaldo left, we've been trying to tie Garnacho down to a new deal before Ronaldo left. And I think he was waiting on the Ronaldo saga to end before he signed his new deal. And I think basically he has in his new deal that he wears the number 7 shirt once the new season comes around. Obviously, the number 7 shirt was registered to Cristiano Ronaldo this season. So you're not going to change mid-year. I don't even think you're allowed change mid-year unless a new player comes in. He can then take it. Garnacho would have already been registered with his number, so he couldn't change his one mid-year. So, look, I mean, I think he should get it. I think the kid is good enough for it. I think he has got the cojones for it, if you know what I mean. He's got the shoulders. He's got the the personality, and I think he's got the confidence to wear that heavy jersey. And by God, that is a heavy jersey. If we go back to this photo and just look at some of the players who had it: David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Eric Cantona, George Best, Brian Robson, Michael Owen. You know what I mean? Antonio Valencia, huge players for the club. I think Garnacho will get it. I really do. And I hope he does get it, because we've seen what happened with Cristiano. Now, look, don't read into it. Don't quote me too much on this, but we seen what happened with Cristiano Ronaldo when he came to Manchester United all them years ago. He got the number 7 shirt straight away, and people were questioning, Jesus, you're giving the number 7 shirt to an 18-year-old. Let's do it again, because we've seen it worked out the last time. It might not work out as well as Cristiano Ronaldo, but if it works out even half as well as Cristiano Ronaldo, then we'll be doing all right. We'll be doing all right. I hope he gets it, but look, time will tell. I think the squad numbers are generally released. Is it the end of July, maybe, I think, or maybe the start of August? Not 100% sure, but yeah, I hope he gets it. Guys, look, we're going to leave it there. Before we do go, I want to make you all aware, just a reminder of the PS5 competition. I'm going to let you know every night that we're doing this. I probably should start doing it at the start as well. But yeah, make sure you're entering to win it, to be in with a chance of winning a PS5. We're doing the draw in little over a month's time. So you can scan the QR code on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. You can click the link in the description of the video as well on YouTube. It's there. Anybody that's watching on TikTok, if you want to be in with a chance of winning a brand new PS5, the link is on my homepage. Click the link. You can go and enter the raffle there for it. You can buy as many tickets as you want, and any money that's raised over the price of the PS5 is going to go directly to charity as well. So even if you don't win it, I want thousands of people to buy it, because if we do that, then we're going to raise a lot of money for charity as well, which is always great. So go check that out, get involved, buy a couple of tickets. Even if you don't win a PS5, it'll more than likely go to a good cause. But thanks for watching, guys. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already done so. Hit the subscribe button as well if you're new to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate it. If you're watching on TikTok and you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the follow button as well. I do appreciate everybody getting involved in the chat as well. If you want to become an official member of the channel as well on YouTube, guys, the link is in the description. We're going to be doing I'm probably going to do a members video next week. I'm going to be putting out probably a little bit of content for members as well throughout the summer in relation. I might start doing maybe some scout reports on certain players that we're looking at, short little clippets, maybe 5-minute videos for the members only section. So if you want to become an official member, check out the link in the description as well. Thanks for watching. I will be back Monday again with same time, same place, unless there's some breaking news. If there is some breaking news over the weekend, of course, we'll go live straight away if I'm around. I won't be doing it tomorrow because I'll either be playing golf or I'll be drunk. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. And if I don't see you before Monday, have a great weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.